Hey Guildies, Fletch here. I thought I'd take a moment to introduce myself and answer a couple of questions. Questions like, who am I? What makes me qualified to push my influence? And what do I provide that makes me worth your engagement? Well, my name is Stephen Fletcher, but most people call me Fletch. I am a leader of software engineering and I love to write code. My earliest programming projects, which I contributed to in the 90s, were some Legend of Zelda web content, my high school website, and some Duke Nukem 3D levels with con files. I proudly served the US Navy, who in turn paid for my information technology degree. In the Navy, I did everything from SERE training to programming to controlling every nuclear missile in the US arsenal. As a petty officer, I attended leadership training, which built a strong foundation to increase my potential on my way up the ranks. I personally held top secret SCI Level 2 clearance for my job. This helped when I architected and programmed a tracking system for requesting and managing physical keys that allowed people to enter locations that required security clearance. I also built a Navy-based phone number search directory. But the bigger application I built was a facilities ticket request and tracking system with auth and many other cross-cutting concerns. In the late 90s and the early 2000s, I built a large community of AOL text-based role players and a fairly large classic ASP web application which maintained role-playing rules and standards, tracked character sheets, and managed battles and other events, amongst other things. In the mid 2000s, I had made friends with a number of other people who were into web design and development, and I grew a passion for principal development over cowboy development. Robert C. Martin was my Uncle Bob, and I loved his principles. Because of my newfound passion for principles, I created my own company for web application development named Fletch. Our tagline was Programming with Principles. Under Fletch, I developed what I believe to be the first dynamic website that could fully actualize and build other dynamic websites. I used this platform to quickly develop sites for a dozen or so local companies, from air conditioning companies to electricians to transmission car shops and others. I also spent some time as the dev manager for a local dev company where I worked on government and college e commerce sites, and some time as an on site network technician for dozens of banks in the Midwest, and some other side jobs doing development and IT stuff. After moving to another state, I spent a good amount of time doing sales while searching for my next development role. I imagine car sales and insurance sales. Prior to these experiences, I was extremely introverted, but I found great mentors who were amazing salespeople. This experience, plus my prior leadership training and experience, cannot be oversold. My communication skills grew exponentially, and it prepared me for upcoming public speaking events and leadership roles. Being forced to talk to strangers helped me break out of my shell. Ever since books like Clean Coder and Continuous Delivery released, I've been on a rampage. I've been honing my skills and trying to promote our industry to take accountability for principles and actions, and to try to lead teams toward agile principled practices like continuous delivery and self organization. Since then, I've engineered software and led teams for oil and gas, healthcare, accounting, and more industries. Companies like LexisNexis, Computer RX, Chesapeake, Heartland Global, Integris Hospital, and more. I've held positions as a developer, a chief engineer, software architect, and VP of engineering, to name a few. Even though the majority of my work focuses on contributing directly to the code, I've also collaborated with business leaders like CTOs to coach them toward a more agile mindset, which helps the business succeed. Most of my efforts on the latter half of my experience lean more toward the back end. API driven web applications, event driven microservices, platform level code, distributable packages, and so forth. But I've also done plenty of web development in the last decade, namely in Angular with some Vue and React. I'm also adept with Java, Python, C++, and other languages, though I typically focus on leading collaborative teams who are responsible for things like data science, IoT, platform engineering, design, and so forth. While I lead and I architect the systems, and I focus on cloud-based system development, platform-level code, and reference architecture to make everything work together. Of course, I have vast experience with adjacent technologies like many database systems, caching systems, pub sub platforms, and observability. In the past few years, I've focused heavily on AI integration, not only as a tool to help me plan, organize, test, and scaffold some code, but also integrating AI APIs into applications as either personalities, chatbots, or to help organize information so the end users of the application can make use of it. I'm sure that whenever you watch this, that I've recently finished a number of fun projects that I can discuss in person or in other videos. I hope this lays a foundation showing the depth of my experience, decades of seeing things done well or not so well, and you're able to find value in engaging with me here publicly or even professionally. Thanks for watching, and keep up the good work.